Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Again, I want to apologize. I wasn't able to get this video out on Thursday, so it's out today. My IRL job really kicked my butt, and I just couldn't find the time to record. I had all my notes and stuff ready to go, but I couldn't sit down and record. I'm sorry. So here it is now. We are here with our last Hunter x Hunter reaction for Greed Island. We're covering the last 4 episodes, and we got a lot to talk about. So, without further ado, let's just jump right in. The episode kicks off with the fam troop meeting up with Hisoka. It turns out that they found the Exorcist with the help of this guy, Killua's little brother. I thought it was his little sister. Turns out I was very wrong, and people made sure to let me know. Hisoka was able to point him out of the shadows because apparently he's sensitive after their dodgeball game. But they want Hisoka to convince the Exorcist to come with them. They tell him price is no object, but it's surprising that they want to make it a price game because normally they would just force him to come. We also get a little clip showing how close the Phantom Troop still is because Hisoka's all doing it for his fight. The whole Phantom Troop knows it now, and he asks Machi what would happen if he ends up killing Chrollo, and Machi literally says, "I would hunt you down and kill you," and it was actually really cool. We jump over to Tesgera's group, and they're going over their plan of what they're going to do once they run into Genthru. And basically, they have like 20 something company cards, and they're going to start bouncing around and just force these guys to chase them. We go over to their meeting with Genthru, and at first, Genthu's trying to work a deal out, but then they're like, we decided to fight. We decided on combat. So they end up using a company to run away. These guys follow them. They start bouncing around. Genthu's group runs out of a company cards, so they go to Masadora, and they start hunting players. And basically, any player that comes out of Masadora, they immediately attack them, take their card, beat the shit out of them, take their cards, and if they happen to have Tesgera's name in the book, they just outright kill him. Turns out they're trying to anybody who might possibly be helping Tesgera get more cards, they're just taking him out. While all this is happening, Gon is over there training with Biscuit. She's training him to react to Genthru grabbing him. Because if Genthru grabs him, he's gonna blow up part of him. So he needs to be able to use his Ko like immediately, as soon as he gets grabbed. But he also needs to be careful. He needs to be sensitive of how much aura Genthru is using, because he could grab him, not explode it, and then hit him in his weakened body because he used Ko to protect himself when Genthru grabbed him. So it's a wild set of training. But after that, Biscuit wants to start going into emitter training, higher level emitter training, and she ends up giving him this. He has to do a handstand on one hand and use aura to push himself up. She does it super easy, goes up like 15 feet, and she wants Gon to be able to go as high as him in order to pass the test. She tells him this is a level 2 training. Turned out this is a level 6, and he was nowhere near ready for it. But he tries it for a good long time, even while Killua and her are strategizing. We get to see what her net ability is, though I don't actually believe that's really it, but I could be wrong. She summons this masseuse, and basically it helps you feel young again. Tesgera's group is hunting Genthru's group even when they're trying to sleep. We got a clip right here of them trying to kill them while they're sleeping, and they manage to protect themselves, and then they immediately leave. Turns out one of Tesgera's group has kind of a radar net ability. He uses it to track them. Eventually, after attacking enough players, Genthru and his group have more company and magnetic force cards than Tesgera, so they start hunting Tesgera. They start running back and forth until they run out. Once they run out, they start using return, and they're still trying to go. Eventually, they run out of cards, and they end up using leave to leave the game. When they get back to the compound, they get some bad news. It turns out that nobody's there. Mr. Batera canceled them trying to finish the game. So all the guards are gone. Mr. Patera ends up explaining that the whole reason he was trying to get Greed Island is because he had a young lover who had gone into a car accident and was in a coma. He was trying to get whoever cleared the game to bring him Angel's Breath to save his lover. Now that she's gone, he has no reason to support the game. He was ready to blow his whole fortune on the game in a chance of saving her, and now that she's gone, he doesn't need it. So he says he'll pay them off, and he wants nothing to do with the game because it's already too late. And that's honest. That's what the episode ends with Genthru following them into the real world and killing the guards. It was really actually kind of sad. The next episode picks up with Genthru waiting just inside the game, where everybody has to come in. After apparently 10 days, all your cards disappear, and I guess you can go back into the game, but you'll start back at 0. Well, they wait the 10 days, and Tesgera's group never comes back, so they just assume they gave up. So they just end up leaving and going after Gon. Turns out that Gorenu, the guy with the apes from the Razor dodgeball game, had all of Team Tesgera's cards. He had been working with them to make sure the cards never got to Genthru. He had also been watching Genthru, and that's how they knew about them attacking the players outside of Masadora. Now, with Tesgera out of the way, the only cards that he needed left were Strip of Beach and Wild Luck Alexandrite, which are what Gon, Killua, and Biscuit had. So Genthru's team goes after them. They had a whole plan worked out to split up their team and beat them individually. So they start off doing what Tesgera's team did first, running away, using a company, using returns and all that. Eventually, they all start splitting off, and as Killua and Biscuit run away, they use a company with the people following them to split them up farther. Gon gets left with Genthru, and he starts trying to fight Genthru, but Genthru... Alright, before we actually talk about the fight, I really have to say this. I wanted to say it in the last episode, but I didn't say it. I wanted to wait till he actually got here. I didn't like Genthru. I thought he was actually a pretty weak villain. After seeing the Phantom Troop, the Zoldyck family, seeing all the training Gon has gone through and how much stronger he is, he should have just washed Genthru straight up. The dude has to touch you to blow you up. Gon's punches and kicks should have broke this dude's bones. He is not an enhancer. But whatever, I guess he's older, he probably has more experience, but I couldn't, after seeing Gon fight Hisoka and all the beating he took from Hisoka, it's just I don't see how he didn't just wash this dude. Either way, they start exchanging punches and kicks. Genthru starts, using Little Flower, and it cuts over to Biscuit. Biscuit's fighting the bomber with long black hair. I don't even know his name. And at first, he thinks he's gonna win just because he's fighting a little girl. And then we get to see what Biscuit really looks like. And she's huge. She hulks out and just destroys this dude without even trying. But apparently she hates this form. I mean, she looks like a JoJo's character, so I'm not surprised. Not that I have a problem with JoJo's character, it's just the fact that she's supposed to be a girl. And she looks... You get what I'm saying. We cut over to Killua, and Killua starts off with Rhythm Echo to distract the dude he's fighting, and then tries to electrocute him. He stuns him a little bit, but doesn't really knock him out. So he pulls out a yo-yo. Turns out this yo-yo is super heavy. I think it says 50 kilograms, which I believe is 100 pounds. A little yo-yo like that, swinging with the way he starts swinging it around. And he almost knocks the dude out. He rips a chunk out of a tree. But he ends up luring the dude into a trap. Basically, Killua, guards, and he on purpose leaves the side open. So the guy goes to hit Killua. Killua guards with both hands. The dude goes to kick him. Turns out Killua knows that when the dude throws a kick, he puts up his arm to block. And that creates a blind spot where you can't see. So Killua uses a second yo-yo, wraps it around a tree, hits the dude in the head. He drops the 2 yo-yos on the dude's head and then electrocutes the dude because the yo-yos are made out of metal. So that's how Killua wins his fight. We go back to Gon and Genthru, and the episode ends with Genthru basically trying to get serious. Now, the whole next episode, this whole episode is basically just going and getting through fighting. Now, Biscuit, Kilo, and Gon had a plan for going to beat Genthru, and it was actually a really smart plan. But Gon, being Gon, wants to actually be able to hit Genthru. So he starts trying to fight him, and Genthru starts tricking him, throws in feints, hits Gon real hard when Gon's trying to use Ko, where Genthru grabs him. At one point, Genthru's just like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. Because he realizes that Gon's not going to give up, and Gon's actually pretty tough. He decides he's going to start blowing off 2 limbs at a time, and he's going to force Gon to choose which one he's going to protect. So he grabs both of Gon's arms and attempts to blow them both up. And he starts stumbling because he realizes Gon hit him. And then he looks up at Gon and sees this. This was crazy. This was just Gon out of his goddamn mind. Turns out Gon didn't protect his left hand at all and just let Genthru blow it off. Used about 30% on his right arm, which means it's also effed up. And put the other 70% into his foot. So as Genthru blew up his arms, he kicked him in the jaw. And now Genthru was all just like, blah, blah, blah. Well, first off, Genthru thinks Gon's crazy, and he's actually like a little scared of him now because he realizes the kid's just out of his mind. And that's all Gon wanted. So now Gon decides to go with the plan. He uses one of the item cards to douse him in oil. So that way if he uses his little flower, he'll light himself on fire. Then Gon punches the ground. Turns out it was a pitfall. By punching it with Nen, he shatters all the wood that was under it, and they both fall into a hole. Genthru, takes a second to realize what's going on, and Gon is in a hole that's inside one of the walls. And then he uses another card to drop a giant boulder in the hole. It fills the entire top of the hole and comes down on Genthru. Genthru jumps in the hole that Gon's in, and this is exactly what their plan was, because now Genthru has nowhere to go. Genthru ends up with his back against the rock in this little hallway, carved out with Gon, and Gon charges up a full power Jock and Rock and just nails this dude in the stomach with all that force, and he was just one shot done, over. Gon's an enhancer with a punch like that we saw what it could do to a dodgeball. Imagine what it could do to a person. I did miss a little thing. Sorry about that. At the beginning of their fight, Gon had made Genthru promise that whoever won would get all the other person's cards. So that way, you can't get somebody's cards if you kill them. So that was their deal. Because Gon won, Genthru gave him all his cards, and they used Angel's Breath to heal Gon. So Gon got his arm back, got all healed up. Looks good. They had saved up 6 clone cards to copy Angel's Breath because they were planning on healing Genthru's entire party, as well as themselves if need be. So, Gon gets healed, Kilo gets healed, and they heal all of them up. Imagine they have them all tied up so they can't attack them. But, yeah. Now, once Gareno sees what happened, Gareno decides to give Gon all the cards. He found out that Mr. Batera had canceled the program for Greed Island, but was going to give him 4 billion Jenny, was their currency. He tells them all he's going to give them all $1 billion because he wouldn't have got that far without them, and he gives all the cards to Gon. Upon giving all the cards to Gon, when Gon puts all the cards in the slots, an event triggers. They get an announcement, and the event for the Zero card happens, and it's a quiz about all the slot cards. All of a sudden, lights start raining down from the sky, and a bunch of players surround Team Gon and Genthru. And Garenu. And that's where the episode ends. The last episode of the arc, the last episode of the season, starts off with all the players around Gon's team, and it turns out that they were all there to basically help Gon get the last card. They told him that they know that he's about to win. They're not going to fight him on it. And that if any of them happen to win the contest, they win the quiz, that they'll sell to him for 2 million Jenny. They know he's getting 50. He's supposed to be getting 50 billion, so 2 million isn't nothing to him. They don't know that the offer got rescinded, but they're not going to fight. They're not going to let them know yet. So that way they still can get the card. We get a shot of Homeboy the Exorcist finally catching up to Genthru, and he grabs him and says, "I caught the bomber," dispelling the bomb that was supposed to be on him. and you just see a bunch of smoke come out of his mask. That's his Nen Beast is finally disappearing, because it was only going to disappear when Genthru's ability was dispelled. So now that it's gone, that ugly worm thing is gone too. So they do the quiz. Now, the way the quiz worked was that they designed the quiz to make it harder for anybody who got cards by stealing them, because they had to do with how you got specific cards. Now, Killua was having trouble remembering because they went through so much shite while they were there, but Gon had paid attention to every detail. Gon ends up winning with, I guess, I think it was 84 out of 100 questions, something like that. He ends up winning, and as a reward, he gets an invitation to Greed Island Castle. When he gets there, he meets this guy, and the whole room's a mess. They clear out some space and they start talking. Turns out both of these guys were actually friends of Jean. This is Lists and Dune. I think his name is Dune. And apparently they helped make Greed Island. We get a little backstory about the name of Greed Island. Turns out it's an acronym for all the people who helped Jean create it. And Gon gets two things. He gets a little, it kind of looked like a, not a folder, a little carrying case where he can put 3 slot cards, and he's allowed to leave with 3 of those cards to use them in the real world. He hears some funny stories about Jean, and we end up getting a nice little celebration scene with him, Killua, and Biscuit. There's a parade, there's a banquet, lots of fun, but then it's time to finish the game, and they give Biscuit the card she wants, which is Blue Planet, this really beautiful jewel. And they start talking about what Gon's gonna take, and it's only going between Killua and Gon. Biscuit's like confused of like what's going on, but when they leave, he picks Strip of Beach, of a Blue Planet, and the necklace, Paladin necklace. Well, when they leave, they give Blue Planet to Biscuit. It turns into the gem. He pulls out the other 2 cards. He gets the necklace, and then he uses it on the Strip of Beach card. Turns out it wasn't a Strip of Beach card. He changed it with, I think, a clone or a copy to make it a Strip of Beach, but in actuality it was a company card, which isn't a specified slot card. So he basically cheated the game. And it turns out when Gon opened his book and saw all the players that he's met, it goes in the order that you meet them. And since he was the first one in the game, he didn't meet any of the players. The first one on his list should have been Garenu, but there was another name above it, Neig, N-I-G-G. So Gon, being Gon, thought that Neig must have been Jean. He's thinking that Jean brought him there while he was a baby, and that's why he's on his player list. So he decides to use the company card with him and Killua to go and meet Jean. They say goodbye to Biscuit. She doesn't want to go with them because she's worried she's going to get too attached, almost like a mom. So they say their goodbyes, and they teleport. The episode ends with Gon and Killua meeting this guy. I have no idea who that is, but I know it's not Jean because I know they don't end up meeting him in this early. That at least was ruined for me. Now that is 4 seasons gone, I'm finally done with Greed Island. How do I feel about the series so far? Season 1 was okay. It had its highlights, it had its lowlights. It was enough to catch my attention. Season 2 was actually really great, but it was so much build up to the fight with Hisoka and Gon. I liked it a little bit more than the first season, only because it was shorter, and once we got to that fight, it was great. So far, season 3 with York New was definitely my favorite. Kurapika is my favorite character, and the whole thing with the fam troop, they were just an amazing bunch of villains. How did I feel about Greed Island? I mean, it was a great training arc because we definitely got to see Killua and Gon get a lot stronger and a lot better thanks to Biscuit. But I think Ginthru kind of dragged it down a little bit for me. I really didn't like him as a villain. I would have been happier with them having more time with Razor. Razor was dope. But that's it. That's my take on it. So far, I like the series. And I know everybody and their mother tells me that Chimera Ant is like one of the best arcs of any anime like in the world. So I can't wait to start it. I still haven't watched it. I'm probably gonna start watching it next week. So once I get back to doing reviews, I'll be able to start it with you guys. I will not be putting out any reviews next week. I will be taking a break, and like I said, probably starting Chimera Ant next week. So by the following week, we can get back into reviews. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you guys for sticking around with me who have. I know some of you watch every single one of these, and believe me, I appreciate it so much. I hope you guys enjoy my opinions. If you guys did enjoy this, drop a like, subscribe if you're new so we can talk about more anime. Once I'm done with Hunter x Hunter, I do want to keep doing reviews on other anime. I have no idea what I should check out. If you guys come up with any ideas you want to hear me talk about, please drop it in the comments. And I will catch you guys on the next video.